Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. China is actively and seriously getting ready for war, for hot war. Not economic war, circus war, swimming war. No. Pop war. So, we got this article from Sputnik. I know. Well, what can you do? You gotta use everything. I use the Ukrainians, I use the weasels in the corporate media here in the West. Now I use the Russians. What else? I mean, they're all weasels, so let's go. This article is from today, the 21st of, I was about to say August, September. Chinese army should focus on preparing for real hostilities, Xi Jinping says. You bet. I think after he saw what's happening in Russia, he said, we're gonna be next, buddy. Shoo. Okay. The Chinese president did not elaborate on whether he expects the country to engage in armed conflict in the near future. Beijing, however, has repeatedly warned the U.S. against quote-unquote provocations in the Taiwan Straits as Washington keeps sending its warship to the region. That's not escalation, that's de-escalation. China's People Liberation Army, PLA, should focus on preparing for future engagements in real-life hostilities, the country's President Xi Jinping has stated in his speech at a seminar on the reform of national defense and the armed forces. The president delivered new instructions to the military as a part of his message dedicated to the ongoing reform of the PLA. The military reforms were launched in 2015 and included a number of restructuring and modernization efforts, as well as a feedback mechanism through which Chinese service personnel can file optimization proposals for the military force. The reform is expected to reduce the size of the army while upgrading PLA overall military capabilities. The changes that Xi has in mind for the military are aimed at making the PLA a visible and capable force in the face of the serious rival armed with advanced weapons. I think they're learning from what's going on in Ukraine and they are just synchronizing with that. The reform and modernization are expected to largely wind up by 2035. In his address to the seminar, the president did not elaborate on his call to prepare for a real-life confrontation, nor did he warn of any imminent conflicts that might involve China. Chinese foreign minister said that Nancy Pelosi's sneaky Taiwan visit undermined Sino-US relations. Well, what can you do? The Chinese military, however, routinely encounters tensions with U.S. forces in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, where Washington sends its warship under the pretext of freedom of navigation missions. Beijing repeatedly cautioned the U.S. against such provocations, noting that they might one day accidentally lead to an armed standoff. You bet? Yep. Sino-U.S. relations were put to a major test this August after U.S. House Speaker Nancy decided to visit Taiwan, an island which Beijing deems as inalienable part of its territory. China accused the U.S. of violating the One China principle and playing with Taiwan independence forces, as well as calling Pelosi's behavior unacceptable and provocative. And they got angry with the last statements coming from Osama bin Laden, which were straight during his 60-minute interview that he had with some weasel media outlet here in the United States of America, and where Biden said that U.S. military will defend Taiwan, will intervene if Taiwan is militarily attacked by China. He did this in May or something, something like this, in June, when he was in Japan. And then the weasels from the State Department came and said, oh, blah, 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 no, White House. No. You guys misunderstood what he said. Psst. Okay, so we're the dumbasses here, not the shuffling mannequin. All right, so China is getting ready, and it should. It should, because it is next on the list. And I think China would be a harder target in some ways, a harder enemy to subdue, because it's of its economy and sheer number. The problem is the United States will fight far away from its country, and Taiwan is just a pretext, let's put it this way. Well, to a certain extent, because strategically, I can't remember who that was MacArthur, an admiral of U.S., I think in 1960s, said that, 60s or 70s, something like that, said that Taiwan is an unsinkable, aircraft carrier. So they will never let that go. Well, we'll see. Colonel McGregor, retired colonel from the U.S. Army, he stated that it's going to be hard for the United States to fight a war this far, and being on the ships, navy, they don't have a territory to invade. What territory will they use to invade China? And China will just use rockets from the distance to hit your ships that will definitely be destroyed. But by the sheer number of the missiles and rockets the Chinese are capable of sending, I'm assuming. Because at one point, you can have a very performant military air defense system. The problem is you overwhelm it with a number. And not only with a number, with ammunition. Those air defense systems, they have obviously a very finite number of shells that would send to hit targets coming towards the ship. So let's say you have, I'm just giving a number, 100. Well, the Chinese were going to send 101. And that one is going to blow your ship. And I just once said 101, when they can send 1001. And then going to be what? 901 is going to hit your ship. That's the whole thing. The same thing with the Second World War, when the Soviets overwhelmed the German Wehrmacht. The same number, sheer number, but they had production, military production, arms production, Lend-Lease, all that. So the same here. The Chinese are on their turf. I don't think the United States has any chances with that. But then, what are they going to do? Just take over some people they don't want to be taken over? It's like Ukraine tries to liberate those territories that don't want to be liberated. Those people don't want to be liberated by Ukraine. They are Russians. So we're going to liberate you. You're not going to liberate. You're going to just, take over again a land and some people that do not belong to you. But being Chinese, what China is going to do? Get over Taiwan and do what? The people over there don't want them over there. Possibly, probably, most likely. So then what are they going to do? Wipe them? Indoctrinate them? Yeah, that needs time. It needs time. Takes time. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.